shall we go and have a look at what Archie Gray will actually bring to Tottenham through the stats? I've got a couple of stats before you bring on SimStats to talk about what he actually did in the Championship last year. And in the Championship, Archie Gray ranked first when compared to other current under-21 players for most tackles, which was 97, most possession won in the midfield third, which is 101, most possession won in the defensive third, which was 94, most final third passes, which was 527, most passes in the final third, which was 271, Championship Young Player of the Season, most tackles and second most ground duels won in the Championship completely out of everyone. So that's the kind of player that we're bringing in.
Yeah, and I think what's important about that is he's making a lot of these passes in the final third, and he's getting up the pitch. But that shows his bravery, because a lot of the time he was playing a right back, and he's very good at progressing the ball forward. I guess we'll see it as well from these pie charts as well. Obviously, you got an element of them has got to be taken. Not with a pinch of salt, but he's still 18. He's got a lot of room to grow. He's not the perfect player yet, and just because some of these stats aren't strong right now doesn't mean, in a year's time or with more development, they're not going to be a lot stronger once Spurs, help him develop and once he start playing for us. But this is him, how he profiles as an inverted. This is him profiling as a box-to-box midfielder. Obviously, played 16 minutes as a midfield, 16 games as a midfielder last season, mostly as a number 8. This is what his pie chart looks when it comes to him playing as kind of a number 8 as well. So what you can see here is the take-ons are quite good, which is really encouraging. Which is as a 18-year-old playing, your first season of the Championship, to have that good amount of take-ons and progressive carries as well. You can see that's really high. That shows a level of bravery and quality, which you don't really see too much in 18-year-olds. What I really like about his pie chart as well is there's tackles in the attacking third and shot creating actions from defensive actions, which means which shows me he's quite effective at pressing, and he's quite good at creating opportunities from tackles as well, which is actually really valuable when it comes to how Spurs want to set up, and he's going to be really, really effective at pressing. A dribbler's tackle, he's quite good as well, so he's quite good in one-on-one situations. Obviously, look, there's a lot of stuff he needs to improve when it comes to like his passing ability and
which
stuff
is
like
expected
that.
for an 18-year-old.
He's 18, but if we're focusing on what he's really good at, it's really good things to be good at in our system, and it really, especially midfield, and now really help us help him fit in. How he profiles as a inverted wing fullback, you can see here. So his pass completion, he doesn't lose too much possession, which is really good. Passes into the final third, which is really important when playing at fullback. It's something that Porro's really good at, especially when we're playing out the back. If he can pass the ball into the final third from fullback, that's a really important thing to do. Obviously, dribblers tackle we saw before in the midfield one, he's really, really good at. That shows to me that when he's 1-1 with a winger or something, or a midfielder, he's actually quite effective at winning the ball back. Touches in the middle third, he's above average, which is really important, because one thing that young players sometimes happen with them is they get lost in the game and they hide and they don't show for the ball. But that's clearly something Archie Gray doesn't do. He likes to get on the ball, especially in the middle third, which is usually the most congested area. That's quite impressive for a young player to be getting on the ball so much. Obviously, aerial duels he needs to improve. Carries into the final third, maybe he needs to improve. Progressive, he dispossessed. He gets dispossessed quite a bit, so he needs to improve that. But look, as we said, he's still a very, very young 18-year-old player. He's got a lot of scope to improving, but clearly at the moment we're seeing what the advantages of bringing such a young player in and why Spurs are looking at him, I think.
And I feel like with those attributes that you talk about, the ones that he's showing really strong metrics in, it's perfect for Ange and it's perfect for an Ange Postecoglou system. When you talk about his bravery, his ability to pass the ball forward, his ability to press, his ability to tackle, these are all things that Ange Postecoglou would have looked at and be like, look, this guy is perfect for my system. And at such a young age, showing really strong metrics in all these kind of actions. and it's only going to get better when you're at the age of 18. I think we've got one hell of a player on our hands, and one hell of a player that is going to suit this system down to a T.
Yeah, definitely. Looking at drilling in a bit deeper into some of the stats that we've seen from him. Over the last year, obviously for Leeds. Looking at his defensive stats, pretty decent overall. Obviously tackles, above average. Tackles in the attacking third, again, really strong metrics, which is really shows his bravery. Dribblers tackled, really strong as well, which means he's, again, quite good in one-on-one situations. Well, what's really great is he's quite high for the number of dribblers tackled and as well the percentage. That means it's really, really effective. The amount he tackles players who are obviously dribbling at him and he's being run at, which means he's not overawed at players running at him, which is really, really good, especially in our system especially when defenders are left in a lot of one-on-one situations, which we've seen last season. You need to be very good at that, which is really good. But what I like about this is obviously he makes tackles higher up the pitch, gets involved in quite a few duels as well, tackles one above average, and so for an 18-year-old player to get involved in so many duels is really encouraging. I feel, especially higher up the pitch, that shows bravery for me.
Yeah, absolutely, and it just even more proves to me how suited he is to what Ange wants to do. Ange needs brave players, and this is exactly what this guy is. A guy at 18 years old that is showing absolutely no fear. Yes, it's got to be caveated that he's only played in the Championship and it's only been one really good season at that. But at the age of 18, with him being under Ange Postecoglou's wing now, I think he's only going to skyrocket from here on there. And, a lot of people were saying, oh, this isn't a statement signing. He's only 18. He's going to be another one that's just going to get lost, like the other kind of kids that we've bought from the Championship. But I do think this guy's a different kettle of fish to the ones that we've brought in. And not only is he a different kettle of fish in terms of ability, but he's also a different kettle of fish because the other signings that we have made from the Championship, the majority of them have been club signings. Yes, this might be a club signing as well, but Ange Postecoglou wanted him, which is the main thing. And if Ange Postecoglou wants him, he wants to play for Ange. Everything seems to mould together, and it could be a match made in heaven.
Yeah, I think the fact that he comes from a family of Celtic fans and he knows a lot about Ange Postecoglou and he's a big fan of his, I think that drive to play for him, I think, is going to be really, really important. His passing stats will read for quite interesting reading, and I'll tell you why. So, if you're looking at his passing stats from last season, so if you look at the passes completed, it's actually fairly low. He's in the 50th percentile. He's quite average. He actually doesn't make too many passes. Passes attempted as well in the 34th percentile. Obviously, the pass completion is quite good. So, despite the low amount of passes, he's quite good at his passing. You can see all here his attempted passes at medium, short, and long, all quite low, but his pass completion is all very high. So he's quite good passer despite not making too many passes. But here's the interesting thing. So passes completed is very average in the 50th percentile, but when it goes to passes into the final third and progressive passes, he's in the 87th and 69th percentile. That shows to me that he actually doesn't make too many passes, but when he does get the ball, he gets it forward, and he makes progressive passes, and he makes passes in the final third, pretty much more than any other player, even though he's getting less. So imagine if he got more possession, like he will, hopefully will do at Tottenham, even though I know Leeds are quite a possession-based side in the Championship anyway. But at Tottenham, he's going to be getting a lot of the ball. We saw that last season. We get more of the ball than most teams in the Premier League. So when you imagine him getting more of the ball, how many passes forward and progressive passes he's going to be able to do, and he's already showing that with little of the ball he can outpass, he can make more progressive passes than most players anyway. So that to me shows an ability with him to do a lot with a little.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's exactly what Joe said to me yesterday as well, that he's a very forward-thinking player. Every time he gets the ball, his first thought is, how do I progress this ball forward? How do I get forward with this ball? How do I move up the pitch? And again, another thing that just plays straight into the way Ange Postecoglou likes to play his football, Ange Postecoglou's philosophy. So once again, I'm just so excited about this signing, and we can't stop from here. We cannot stop.
I don't think we'll be seeing Ange shouting at Archie Gray saying, play effing forward, like he was a few times with some of our players last season. Last bits we're going to look at is possession, his possession stats. So again, doesn't get on the ball as much. He gets on the ball. What's interesting, he doesn't get on the ball that much, but he gets on the ball in the middle third on an above average more than most other players, which is quite interesting. Shows that again he's willing to take the ball in a dangerous area, which is the midfield. Which a lot of teams are trying to win the ball back. A lot of teams are those areas of the pitch are usually quite crowded. Yeah, he gets on the ball quite a lot there. Doesn't get on the ball too much in the defensive and the attacking thirds. What's good here is again. Touches is quite low, but look at that. Take-ons completed and successful take-ons are really high, which again shows to me that doesn't get on the ball a lot, but when he does, he likes to make things happen. He likes to take people on. He likes to get forward, which is really, really encouraging. Again, imagine him getting on the ball even more than. Imagine if that touches was in the 60th percentile rather than the 30th. How many take-ons he'll be able to complete, and how many times he'll be able to get us up the pitch. Carries, again, it's in the 50th percentile, but when you compare that to his touches, again, it's a lot higher. So he's not getting on the ball that much, but he's carrying the ball a lot more than his touches allow him to. So again, doing a lot with a little. So I think that's mainly what I think we can learn from these possession stats. Again, he's not getting on the ball that much, but when he does get on the ball, he doesn't waste it. He likes to get the ball forward. He doesn't just pass it sideways and backwards. He actually likes to take people on. He likes to carry the ball forward. He likes to commit players. And again, that's really important for our system. And I saw Windy was talking about him. He said the way he plays is more similar to a doggy than it is to Porro in terms of he's more of a carrier than he is a passer, and I do think that shows it potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that, judging by those stats that you've just gone through, is he profiling better right now as a 6, as an 8, or as a right back?
Well, because he played the majority of his games as a fullback, these are stats as a fullback comparing against other fullbacks. So it's hard to say, I guess, what those specific stats if it's if he profiles more as a midfielder than a fullback. What I would say is, given where he's at in his career at the moment, I do think he would benefit a bit playing more as fullback than a midfield, because it's a bit less pressure, and actually he's probably afforded a bit more space, and he's able to show off what he can do. And then once he grows into his body a bit, grows his strength and that kind of stuff, then he can start having that responsibility in midfield. So for me, I would like to see him play midfield, but I do think I want to see quite a lot of his minutes and help him develop a backup fullback to Porro, because I think that would really aid his development, allow him to get used to being those congested areas without having that responsibility of being our main midfield player, where he has a lot of defensive responsibility and positional discipline, whereas at fullback he might be afforded a bit more time and space to show what he can do.
Interesting. So stats are backing up that what we think, that he's going to be a really good signing, definitely in the mould of Ange Postecoglou as well, which is great to see, because in the past we have brought in players mismatch of a system, not suited to the system, and just brought in players because we think they could have a high ceiling and go far in the game without actually being suited to the manager's system and brought in for the right reasons. But I think this signing has been brought in for the right reasons. He's suited to the system, but he's also got a very high ceiling as well. So it's great to see. Those are the stats behind Archie Gray and why Spurs did sign him for quite a significant outlay, with Joe Rodon going in the other direction.